I had several suicide attempts. Something's got to shift. If something doesn't change, it's never going to change. Who is Mylee before she got into breathwork? Oh, Mylee was a lost soul. This is the way I connected with myself. It's how I made myself quiet inside and actually really listen to the things I really want to do. And it was a shame that it took my mum getting diagnosed with brain cancer to realize that life is too short. I was very depressed. I was very lost in myself. I was very, very sad and angry with the world. I blamed myself for my mum being sick. I just hated myself. I actually hated myself. I hated myself for going around and around and not making those changes, or hurting my family and hurting my friends and losing some amazing people in my life because of my habits. Yeah, I was horrible to myself. I couldn't see any worth of me living anymore. I had several suicide attempts.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Spill the Tea with Kirsty and Bo, and it is just me still, but this will be my last one probably without Bo. Today we have an incredible guest. We have the beautiful Mylee, who is the owner of Combat Breathwork Solutions and is changing the game with Muay Thai fighters and bringing breath flows and breathwork to the Muay Thai fighter world. Mylee, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited
You're
to
welcome.
be with you today. So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's just get into it. Tell me a little bit about Mylee. Like, who is Mylee before she got into breathwork? Tell me a little bit about you.
Who is Mylee before she got into breathwork? Oh, well, Mylee was a lost soul. Thought she knew herself. Went around this roundabout for many, many years. Struggling with, my history. And I was in Thailand and I wasn't feeling myself. And the ad popped up to come to one of your shows in Sydney. And I was going to be back in Australia in the time. And I went, you know what? Fuck it. I need to do something. Something's got to shift. If something doesn't change, it's never going to change. And I was sick of sitting on this roundabout, going around and around the same. I'd start to heal myself, start to see improvements, and then bang, I'd sabotage myself to go back to, basically I didn't want to see myself succeed is how I really felt inside. So after that event, I decided that this is the way I connected with myself. It's how I made myself quiet inside and actually really listen to the things I really want to do. And it was a shame that it took my mum getting diagnosed with brain cancer to realize that life is too short.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a quiet reminder for anyone like listening, is that life is short. And yet we usually wait until either life is so fucking bad where you're like, I need help, like somebody fucking see me, or someone has to die, or some major traumatic event for us to go, all right, enough's enough. And I think, if we could instill what we know now and have that as your everyday steps before things got to the magnitude of blowing the life up to see the changes, I think, we would be in a very, very different space in this world, But before you even knew about breathwork, what was going on in your life? What happened? What were your ups and downs? What made Mylee Mylee? Like, what's your background story before you even looked at going to heal? What were you healing from?
So I had a little bit of trauma when I was a child that I kept to myself for many, many years. I was very ashamed of an assault that had happened, and my parents didn't even know about it. I went through a lot of self-hate with myself, thinking it was my fault. which I think a lot of women go through if they've ever been in that situation, especially being at such a young age. I was only about 10, 11. And then a lot of self-body images and issues came along with that. So eating disorders happened, depression, anxiety. I got with partners that were no good for me. I spent years in relationships that were mentally abusive, physically abusive. Basically, that's how I wanted to treat myself, or thought I deserved to be treated, I think. And that reflected on who I was hanging out with. I've got some amazing, beautiful friends, but I've also had to walk away from a lot of things. But I struggled a lot with drugs and alcohol, alcohol being my main issue. And I was very highly functioning, so nobody knew that there was a problem. And that was the problem.
That was the problem.
Nobody knew, and I could keep it to myself. And it just slowly started to spiral even worse. Then my second partner eventually said, enough's enough. I have to go. I can't do this anymore. And I thought that was the wake up call for me, losing someone that I loved so much. But it didn't wake me up. I still kept going around and around, and just not knowing why I was doing this to myself, but also not facing the problems that I had dealt with being younger. And I took that into my adult life. And it's a shame that, it took me, until I was about 41 until I decided, right, I really need to make some shifts. I can read a book, and if I don't do the frickin' work in the book, nothing's going to change. You can read any book you want. You can listen to any podcast you want. You can, join any community you want. But if you're not doing the work, then nothing's going to change. And
100%. Amen. Everybody listen to that. You can consume all the fucking self-help you want, but if you don't take action, I'm sorry, but your life stays exactly where it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny that you say your favorite book by Louise Hayes is one of the first books that my cousin gave to me because she saw I was struggling. And I read the book, and, I just didn't do the things in the book, but I go back and read the book now again and again because I love it as well. And I say to myself, why didn't you just do this earlier? Like, my gosh, in the last 12 months, life has just changed. Even through the hardest moment of my life has changed so much, in such a positive way. I still get those feelings. I still get that self-doubt, but I deal with it differently.
Yes. And I think that is such a beautiful reminder that even though we do the work, and even though, like, we're going to go to, where you are now compared to where you were 12 months ago, but we put another expectation on ourselves. That's the problem. So you don't ever feel like you have achieved a lot here, because by the time you got to here, we've got another stack on ourselves. But what I want to say on before that is that these books and stuff that you were reading, you were consuming, but weren't taking the actions, now you look back and they were unconsciously doing its part as well. And the interesting thing for everyone that don't actually know, so it's Louise Hayes, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hayes. And it was the life-changing book that was the start of my journey 21 years ago. Got handed that book. And the reason originally I got handed that book was in the back of it, there's affirmations for anything that's wrong with you. So if you've got anything, wrong with you, whether it be a sore back or, a sore knee or, migraines. So my mom's migraines, there's an affirmation to recorrect this. And this was the start of me actually understanding affirmations and the power of the mind. And, so much in that book that changed my life. But the affirmations was the one that I used to say for the migraines was, I love and approve of myself. I see myself with the eyes of love. I am safe. And I still remember this 21 years later, because I literally cured myself of my migraines when I was pregnant with Carson, because I couldn't take my migraine medication. So I was reading this book and these affirmations, and every time I'd come on, I'd say this over and over again, and it worked. And it was like, what the fuck? This is wild. And then obviously 15 years later, then I found the power of nervous system regulation. And, that was a whole nother step. But these things, like the person that you have become in the last 12 months, all the things that we were trying to do in the background, now they all make sense as well.
100%.
And so when you came to Limitless, what state of mind were you in when you came to Limitless? Like where were you at in your life?
I was very, very depressed. I was very lost in myself. I was very, very sad and angry with the world. I blamed myself for my mum being sick. And I just hated myself. I actually hated myself. I hated myself for going around and around and not making those changes, or hurting my family and hurting my friends and losing some amazing people in my life because of my habits. And I was horrible to myself. I couldn't see any worth of me living anymore. I had several suicide attempts in the last few years, and ended up in hospital a few times because my family were worried, and they don't need to do that. I didn't need to put them through that. The last thing any parent wants to, I'm not a parent, but the last thing any parent wants to do is watch their child struggle and struggle hard, where they know that they're a better person and they are a good human being, but this illness or these processes that you say to yourself and the things you do really impacts the person that comes out of you.
100%.
And that's exactly where I was. I was just I just was so lost in myself that I needed to find myself again. And
which, through all of that, Mylee, like again, the search to find you is what led you in that room. And this is another very quiet reminder for anyone that's going through their hard times, is that for many, many years, and still to this day, people will say, without Brian Kirsty, I wouldn't have got here, and you healed me, all that kind of stuff. Mylee, you chose to show up in that room. That's how powerful you are. Even with every reason to not show up, it would have been a lot easier that day to stay in bed and be sitting in the uncomfortable hell that you were in, but it was comfortable. It was a comfortable knowing because you knew that, but you chose for yourself in a very uncomfortable situation and go into a room with people. Did you come by yourself?
Yeah.
And knowing the Mylee I know now, I know how hard that alone would have been to put yourself in that room.
Yeah.
But do you know what that shows? That shows your actual strength. That there is powerful. That there is strength. That there going and showing up in the face of something that you were so uncertain with the baggage of all the things and the labels that you were carrying behind you, but then you still got into that room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what happened? What happened when you got in that room?
Oh, I met some amazing people, but far out. Did that open my eyes? First ever breakthrough breathwork, and wow. So it was for 2 days, and the first day my breakthrough was completely different. I felt so light. I felt so just like a completely different person. And then the second day, it was a different experience yet again, because I'd let go of so many emotions that then other emotions started coming through, and things from childhood and things that things I hadn't thought about in years. And hearing people going through the same things that I'm going through made me realize I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this world. There are so many people out there that put themselves in second place rather than putting themselves in first place. And that you don't need to do that. Like, get yourself in rooms like this, get yourselves out of your comfort zone, because it could be the game changer that you need, like it was for me. And, from there, things have changed so much.
100%. And what I like here is what you just said, when you went through that experience, you realize you went alone. And the reason why we do drugs and alcohol is because we want to feel connection. We're looking for connection, love, support, help, and to avoid a pain. And then we go into the same space, which then you realize you went alone, which then, same thing with the addiction. Like, at the time, the bottle is I'm not alone. I'm with someone. And now you found out I knew you're not alone. And this is why I actually say, like, addicts are very powerful humans. They are fucking hustlers. They are go-getters. Like, they've got to get that fix. They've got to get that fucking bottle. Like, this is why I always say, if we can just change the addiction, like, oh my God, like your entire world can blow up in a different direction. Instead of blowing it up, in a bad way, you can blow it up in an amazing way. And I think that's exactly what we've seen in you. And, to have gone through so many stages especially in this last 12 months from when you actually arrived at Limitless to, like, going through the process of losing your beautiful mom, to going through the process of, being in your 20-year career. Like, let's talk about that for a moment. Like, what were you doing in your career? Tell me a little bit about that.
So I worked in social housing for 21 years, since I was a little spring chicken. I work with a lot of drug and alcohol problems. I work with people with severe mental health. I work with really challenging clients. I saw a lot of terrible things happening out in the world. I didn't realize the world could be such a horrible place until I started with housing, to see what real struggles and what people do go through. And I think a lot of that, I brought that home with me in a way, like subconsciously, and it did over the years. It has slowly affected me, where as much as I love my job and love what I do, the support at work isn't there. It's go, 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 meet your KPIs, do this, the minister's coming, do this, reactive work, rather than being able to do the work that I wanted to be doing with my clients. And so I moved from frontline over into doing other work, working on projects where I could help clients behind the scenes, developing digital projects, apps, and things like that, which I really loved, but I wasn't getting that people connection. So as much as I loved my career, this last probably 2 years, it's been a big game changer that I needed to look at changing that. One, because I wasn't feeling so content anymore. And I didn't feel like I could be doing what I should have been doing with clients because of the restrictions with government. And
that's interesting as it is, because the funny thing is, like, you've gone into this industry because of your own personal experiences and struggles of that. So you've naturally probably manifested that role. Because majority of people that have gone, I would literally say 99% of people that have been down that road of drug and alcohol abuse, mental health, they want to help other people because they never want people to feel the same way they felt. That's the truth of it. And then you're in an environment where you're like, fuck yes, like I can make a difference, I can help. And then we have our hands tied. And we've realized actually how broken our system is. That's just a whole fucking, I could do 50 podcasts on how broken the system is and how we say that we've got support and help, but do we really know? Like, and it's over saturated. Like, there's no, people waiting in waiting rooms for like 10, 12 hours that would try to commit suicide, and then being left. And like, it's so many things we could say on that. And I can only imagine being in that role, taking that work home emotionally, energetically, dealing with your own struggles, and then I know you, Mylee, like you've got such a kind and caring heart that I can't see you actually trying to like emotionally cut off. Like if something bad was happening at work, you wouldn't have been able to go home and be like, oh, with this another day in the office, it's fine. Like that shit would be playing in your head. And like, oh my God, what could I have done something differently? What can I do? Like knowing through your character and who you are, I just know that wouldn't have been like oh yeah, cool, 9 to 5 job. I've at home having a nice cool one by myself right now, you know. But also 20 years in an industry, you're committed.
Yeah. I am. I'm committed. But it come to a stage where now I want to put myself first and my needs and what I want. And I want to show the world that there are other ways to help heal yourself without having to wait in that doctor's room for hours, having to wait on a psychiatrist waiting list for 3 years to get an appointment to deal with ADHD or, you know, serious mental health issues where psychiatrists are needed because your psychologist can't prescribe medication to you even though you've been taking it for years. And it should be a communication where your psychiatrist should say to your psychologist, you can prescribe this medication for a year. We'll do a yearly assessment. But our health system's broken that you go to the doctors and you tell them I'm feeling a little bit sad or this is what's happening. Or here's a script for antidepressant. Here's a script for this. Here's a script for sleeping tablets. No, like what about a group or a community that I can interact with that can help me without having to go down that route?
What about ask some better questions? Like, how about like ask like what's going on in your life? Like what's been happening? Like the thing is also like the doctors are so overworked. Like Australia especially, like you see people are leaving Australia and they're going overseas. Yep. That's true. It is true. Like Australia has become so expensive. The taxes are through the fucking roof. Like small businesses and medium-sized businesses are getting reamed in the ass. Like they're failing all the time because, you know, Australia's taking such a freaking cut of everything. And so people are leaving, which then puts more strain on our health systems and our medical systems and all of that kind of stuff. And you're right. Like, why are we not asking better questions? Why not, you know, suggesting a group? Why not, you know, breath work? Like, have you got these meditations? Like, your nervous system is not regulated. Like, you know, your environment, what does that look like? How can we, you know, regulate yourself? You know, like we're not asking enough questions. And I think this is why people like you who have gone through such challenging paths and past and things that have happened are the most incredible coaches in this space because you get it. You understand far deeper than the modalities that you know. You understand it from a soul cellular level. And I think that is like one of the most incredible things about people like you who choose to do the work because you want a solution for you. And then 9 out of 10 times, now we want to go and help other people because we've found like the secret sauce. Like, how can I, you know, help other people do that? And so let's talk about like when you first came in and we sat down and we had that first meeting and we were creating an exit plan for you to leave your 20-year career. What was that meeting like, that 1 hour meeting like with me, and what direction were we originally going on to how did that meeting end 60 minutes later?
Okay, so I think it was we were sitting there talking. I actually wanted to go down an easy route, something comfortable, and doing some virtual assistant work because it's stuff that I knew what to do. I didn't have to do any trainings. I didn't have to do, you know, it's stuff that I could easily fit in. But I was going to be stuck behind a computer again. I wasn't going to be connecting with people again. I only through computers or on screen. And, you know, when you sat down and we were talking about my ideal client and things like that, the first words that came out in my mouth was I want to teach breathwork to professional Muay Thai fighters or professional athletes to teach them how they can perform better, keep their nervous system at bay during competition, during fight camp, and working with those athletes so they can become a better athlete and bringing something different to the sport. another generation of new athletes coming through the ranks, and having different backings behind them to get there. And I could see the advantage that this was having in my training, and I really wanted to share that with other people. So, so I just, as you asked me, my perfect client, then my face lit up and our conversation ended. We're doing a 360 and we're going to scrap the VA and we're going to be doing this. So then I went and got myself accredited, put all the hard work in, and you know what? It was the best decision ever. I am so happy at the moment, like just happy and content and doing what I want to do and building something that I want to build, that I know is going to help others. And that is the purpose of my work.
And what a story. And what happened? You were living in Sydney and then what happened? Where did you move to?
So I, in March, hang on, you told me ask your work, when's the earliest you can leave? And I asked them, and it was just after I had lost my mum. And they said, you can take holidays from this date. And I said, great, I'm going to take 12 months off. So I took 12 months leave. My dad basically said, pack your fucking bags and get out of here now. It's time to go. My dad saw the impact Australia was having on me and Sydney was having on me, saw how lonely I was there. And in March, on the 6th of March, I packed my bags and shifted my butt and moved over to Thailand. And it's where I am today, and I couldn't be happier. And I like life has just changed so much in making that change of changing my environment. That environment situation, I want to just stress that to anybody listening. If you're in an environment that's weighing you down just because somebody's telling you you've got to be in that environment, don't fucking listen to them.
Yes.
Go and put yourself in an environment that you are going to thrive in, because your environment is going to have the biggest impact on where you go in your life. The people that surround you are going to be the people who are going to be your biggest supporters or your biggest critics. You're going to find true friendships. You're going to find the people that aren't there for you. You're going to lose a lot of baggage that might be hard to deal with at the start, which I found really challenging because I'm a really attached person. I take things to heart a lot. Things affect me a lot. And removing myself from my environment and changing that, I have never been happier. I live the most simplest life. I live in shorts every day. I get up, I go to the gym in the morning. I come back, I do my work, I get on my calls, with my clients. And I go training again in the afternoon because I also fight professionally over here. And my environment has allowed me to thrive into that person. If I was still doing this and trying to do this in Sydney, I don't think I would have grown so much. So, that was probably one of the best decisions that I've made.
It's one thing to have a business or even the best product or service, but let's be real. When no-face Jackie32 jumps on Instagram throwing those nasty comments and you make it mean something about you, it doesn't matter how good your business is, you will crumble. That's why you need us.
Welcome to We Breathe Success, the ultimate experience for aspiring business owners, entrepreneurs, and coaches who are ready to break through to the next level.
Hi, I'm Kirsty Waddingham.
And I'm Bo Drury.
We're not just any mindset business mentorship. We are the world's best when it comes to mindset, breakthrough, and transformation.
Our approach combines breakthrough breathwork, powerful mindset techniques, manifestation, and strategic business coaching, setting you up for each week for success and action.
If you're truly serious about unlocking explosive growth, you're in the right place.
Success starts with one essential foundation, your mindset. Without it, even the best business strategies will fall apart.
That's why we go deeper than traditional coaching. We offer advanced biohacking and mindset reprogramming.
Your network is your net worth. and now you have access to ours. With all of this, success isn't just a possibility, it's your only option.
We're here to help you break through your old limits, step into extraordinary success, and create unstoppable momentum for growth. We cover it all: mindset, somatic strategy, community, and connection.
So are you ready to be the leader, visionary, and powerhouse that you were meant to be? Click the link below. Let's book a call.
I couldn't agree any more than what you just said. And I think the version of you, like you rapidly changed in 6 months, like rapidly and then the last 6 months. So the first 6 months was you like going through the motions of life. You'd lost your beautiful mum through this process. Then it was like you quit your 21-year career that even you knew. You were going all in on a business that you knew nothing about yet. You were starting from scratch. You then were moving to Thailand. Like so many massive, incredible milestones. At the same time, one of the hardest times of your life, because your beautiful mum and you were very, very close as well. And so, there was like trying to navigate and process that, but then still hold my own to go into my own business and then put myself out there when I'm navigating grief and and same thing with grief is that it's up and down. Like some days it's amazing, like, oh, I've got this. And then out of nowhere, like you've been hit like a ton of rocks again. It's like something happens again. And I think, and that's any type of processing of whether it be trauma or a massive event that has changed at rapid speed. And trauma doesn't necessarily have to be something super bad. It could be the fact that you had a 21-year stable career, then all of a sudden you don't have that safety net anymore. Like, it can look like that as well. And I think, the amount of changes that you have had is credit to you, Mylee, of a human being that can change through any circumstances at all. And that nobody came to save you. You saved you. And I think this is the part that people truly forget. That you may have been put in a better environment. You may have, met a great community. You may have found some new skills. But the one common denominator here is that you did that. You chose that. You put yourself in there. You kept showing up even on the days that were hard, and you allowed yourself to have those bad days. And I think that's the best thing about being in a container, that there was like a couple of months where you were on and off, and then you came back. You're like, okay, cool. I'm back now. I'm feeling good. And you had that community to fall back in. When you're at Limitless, like what was the deciding factor for you? Why did you join We Breathe Success? Like what was the reason? What made you that day go, fuck it, that's what I need to do?
Because I could relate to your story and Beau's story so much. Not just one of your stories, but both of your stories. Both of your stories had something that I connected with personally. And I saw that if you put that work in and you are around the right people, but you have people that tell you as it is, no bullshit, no fluff, no, nothing. That's what I needed, because I'd had people in my life and in my container or in my circles before that were always, oh, it's okay, rah, it's okay, trying to hold your hand through everything. And my hand wasn't held. My hand was said, no, you're on your own here. You're going to do this yourself with the right guidance. And that has been the biggest game changer for me, is the real talk, hitting me smack bang in the face, facing those things that you don't want to face, because that shit's uncomfortable. It's not nice sometimes. And I think that's why a lot of people stay stuck in the same scenario, because of that comfortableness, that it's just, as I said before, that roundabout, they're just so used to that and they can't see something bigger and better. But I could see something bigger and better in myself. And I knew that I just needed to be around people I like, people who were going to, as I said, tell me the hard truth and not fluff it around.
And we've had many hard conversations, you and me, and and I always say, I say it with love. Like I have to say my shit sometimes, because I'm like, Mylee, like, no, like this is fucking not okay. Like you need to do it this way. And then once the initial like, fuck you kind of is in the head, it's like, okay. And then you got to do it.
Yeah.
And that's when the change happens, because like you said, you've had enough people fucking, calling you through the whole bullshit, blah, blah. But here I was like, no, we're not going to play this fucking card anymore. You know the drill. You know your routines. You know your patterns. You know what's going to happen here. And then we sort of break that chain. And you're like, oh, okay. It's starting to feel good now. It's starting to work.
Yeah. And it was good because, it would be as an example to show one thing that really showed me last week that I had really grown into this newer version of myself and really grown. And this to other people may not seem like a massive thing, but I love animals. And one of the stray cats, I feed all the stray cats that are in our little block. No one owns them, but they're all ours. So we look after them. They're fed, they're looked after. If something's wrong, we'll take them to the vet. And Mr. I come out of the shower. I can name him Mr. I don't know why. It's just a weird man that popped in my head. And I don't know what had happened, but he was choking or something had bitten him. And I had to run out because the ladies didn't know what to do. So I'm out there holding him, trying to pat his, trying to clear his airways if something was there. But I think something had bitten him and poisoned him. And when I was holding him and I felt his heart stop, it reminded me of how helpless I felt when I watched my mum on her for 7 days on basically dying and not being able to breathe. And it really brought back those helpless feelings for me. And I would go back into my old habits straight away. And I thought about it and I said no. But the next day, I didn't want to get on our calls our group calls. And I did it. And then you put me on the spot to talk. And I was like crying. And I was like, I just want to be here to listen. And everybody was just so respectful of that. But for me to turn up and not be hungover or not have gone back to my old habits was the fucking game changer for me.
Beautiful.
And I opened my eyes and said, wow, you have come so, so far in this last year or even just this last 6 months, on top of, because those habits were still creeping in.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to say I haven't had a couple of relapses because I have, and I let people down in those relapses, which I'm ashamed of myself. But it is part of my recovery and my healing process that instead of hating myself for that, I rebuild myself and come back stronger, I feel.
Yep.
And turning up on that Wednesday is something that I probably would never have done in the past.
Yes.
But I did it. Tears and all, just buried the cat like it's just a cat, like it's not my cat, but still it's a soul in this life that brings me happiness. And I just went to myself, no, you got to get on the call, whether you want to be there or not, tears or not, get on there because you're going to feel better afterwards. And just seeing myself do that, that's how I know that things have they're starting to go even this next year. I'm looking forward to next year. I think I've been saying for the last 4 years since 2022, and I watched my pop really unwell, watched my auntie really unwell with cancer and her horrible treatment, then my mum. Now I've got my nan who's not well, she's 98. It just feels like one thing after another, but I'm not letting it stop me.
Yeah.
I'm not letting it hold me back. I'm not letting it keep me down. I want to make those people proud. And now's my chance to do that.
And that's starting with you, making you proud. And that moment through one of a challenging, triggering moment where that you'd usually revert back to something because that was what you'd do, that's when growth has happened. Yeah. And this is where all of the tools, all of the workings, all the unconscious work that's happening, all the breath flows and all that kind of stuff, all of a sudden it's like, oh, holy shit, I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing the fucking thing. Like, this is amazing. You know, I think, and that's just it's just a beautiful reminder of like, the process of life is a journey and it's linear and we're still going to have ups and downs and all arounds and things like that. And I suppose that's going to get me to my next question. What do you think has been one of the biggest challenges or struggles you've had in the last 12 months in business? What do you think has been one of the biggest challenges and struggles to take to get to where you are today in this moment right here?
I had a feeling you were going to ask me this question. I was thinking about this last night. And I have to say, for me, I love the setting up and getting all of that. It's so exciting because you're starting to see things come to life. And that's one thing that I've loved about working in projects is you're getting to see something from scratch or nothing come to life. But one of the challenging things for me was getting myself into a structure where I wasn't overwhelming myself so much. I would do my little list of things that I want done and and I'd think to myself, I have to do it all in one day. No, that's your weekly task. Like, spread them out, girl. Stop trying to do everything in one day because I was overwhelming myself. And that's when I found that I would not burn myself out, but I would then, those negative thoughts would come back to think, oh, I can't do this. I'm no good for it. Instead of going, right, just do this one task. Focus on that today. Get that done from start to finish.
Yes.
Stop being so perfect. Still telling me because I am a perfectionist. And when I started doing that, then things started to flow for me and I started to find my feet. So for me, because I'd been in such a job where I was always in structure, I knew what was happening and now I had to do it all myself. It was like, oh, I've got to set this myself.
And I'm my own boss now. I've got to make my own. I'm the employee of my own company. Like, I need to set myself. I got to set that bitch some tasks.
Exactly. And when I changed my mindset to that, that's when things started to become easier for me. You know, things still are challenging, but I find, and that's one thing that if anybody is trying to get into business and is new to business, is just keep yourself, do your weekly list and just work on one thing at a time and get through that list. Don't try and think you have to do it all in one day or all in 1 week. It could take a month to get through those little tasks that you need to do, but just get through them, tick them off, and they don't have to be perfect. Just get it done. And you can refine things later on. And I found that since I've started to do that, things are much easier for me. That's been the game changer.
I love that. And, you know, I think everybody can resonate with that, especially business owners. And it doesn't matter what stage of business you're in. If you don't have those systems and stuff in place, is why we do time blocking. It's why we have boardroom and activate, so you can set your week up for success. Because if you don't time block and put those missions in place, you will find a million other tasks that you need to have done in a week, in a day. And everything feels urgent, you know? Everything is like pulling in there. And then what happens is we don't do any of it because we become so overwhelmed and we fry ourselves. And then we call it procrastination. Like, you know, it's like we give it another label, you know? So I love that. What kind of success do you think that you've had since joining We Bring Success?
Since I've joined is one, I've changed my whole life. I could just chuck it up in the air and go, right, that's where I'm going to live. I've stepped into the dream that I've wanted to have since 2017. In 2017, I said I've always wanted to work for myself. I've always wanted to have my freedom to have my hours where I can incorporate my training routine and jump in the ring still and get as much time in there as much as I can. But the first time I ever come to Thailand, I always said I want to live here. I've always wanted to start a business over here, and I have been coming to this exact location for years and years and years. And when I started doing breathwork, I noticed that this is something that's really missing in the fight game over here a lot. There are breathwork, there are things to do. But I finally stepped into the version of me that I wanted to step into since 2017. And that in itself feels so so good. And that has been the biggest thing for me in joining We Breathe Success, is that I finally stepped into that version. That version's always been in there, but I haven't known how to find her, and I found her. And now she stepped out and she's out. Watch out. Like, it's like, and it just feels so good in myself, to feel satisfied in myself, like, to wake up feeling so energized every day. I love coming to our weekly meetings that where we're all together, and, the chats that we all have. It's just changed me. I mean, I know I've changed me, but it's helped me change me. And and that has been the biggest thing for me, is that I'm not scared to step into things that I find scary anymore.
Yes. And I think, oh my goodness, like goosebumps. When you have been sitting in fear for so long, to be your full self, or to go all in on yourself, or like, all the other things that come up, like self-doubt, fear, rejection, what ifs, I'm not good enough. Once we break through that and we no longer let those fears have a say in our life, that's when we truly do step into a whole nother dimension. And that's what we've definitely seen, especially in the last 6 months since Bali, really, is like this whole nother version of you, you have gone through in the last 12 months, pretty much like a snake's shedding its skin of all layers, a whole career that in you, family members, safety of being, in Sydney, moving to Thailand, getting a new place, making friends, starting a business. Like, when you sit back and actually document all the things that you've achieved in the last 12 months, it's been unrecognizable. Like, you're not the same version of you that you were 12 months ago, not the same mindset, not the same way of thinking. It is, and doesn't mean, again, that we don't have down days. It doesn't mean that we don't always, get it right. That doesn't discredit that we're still human beings. But the evolution of Mylee in such a short time, like, you've got to take a moment to sit there and be like, holy, I'm pretty amazing. Like, pretty amazing, And I know that we're all sitting here so, so proud of you. What do you think has been the most favorite part about the community?
My favorite part would be the community itself. Like, just having people with so much drive and so much passion to do what they want to actually do. I don't feel lonely. If I need advice, people are there to give advice. There are people that you can collaborate with, and people that you can, start a journey with. And I just think that without that, I felt really lost in life. But I have been part of different communities before where I've still felt that way too. So you and Bo have built something so freaking amazing. And to welcome people in and to help people change themselves to become a better version of themselves. I couldn't be more grateful. I just couldn't be more grateful for what you guys have started, from what your passion was and Bo's passion was. And, and now look at how many people are thriving because of what you guys have done and what you guys have created. And that in itself is something that it allows us to keep growing. You guys keep growing. So we keep growing, and you share your wisdom with us, and it allows us to step into that version that we want to be in. I've seen so many people's lives change in this coaching container for the better. I see people living their dreams. I see people stepping out of careers that they hate and into careers that they've always wanted to do. Creating something special for so many people out there. And that's all because of you guys. Like, you guys started this, and it's like a great movement of changing people's, I don't know. To me, this feels like the new way of where health and wellness needs to go. Where people are joining containers like this to become that version of themselves, get out of their head. And I would never have got out of that if it wasn't for this community. So that in itself, I couldn't be more grateful for, because I would not have grown. I would not have stepped into this part of my life that I never thought I was going to step into. I always thought it was in the, I was never going to get there. That light was never going to come. But then one day it's just come, and wow,
and then boom.
And it's changed my life in so many ways. Like, whilst I'm still in recovery, those habits don't sneak into my life anymore. Actually, alcohol makes me feel sick now. It actually makes my stomach feel sick. And I don't know whether I've manifested that myself. Maybe, because, those little habits are now becoming non-existent, and that I just feel amazing every day. And I haven't felt this way in a very, 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 very long time. And that's what this has done for me. So thank you.
I love that. And this is what it does then when we work with people like you, then you go and work with like 10, 15, 20, 100, 1,000 people. And then we become a movement. And this is what this has always been about. Like, we built We Breathe Success off the backbone of that. I couldn't find a community that I wanted to be in. I couldn't find, I had people in business tear me down. I had people in my life tear me down. I was like, I'm going to create a community that doesn't happen. And that's why I'm very protective of it. It's why we don't let everybody in it. It's also why I'll remove people the moment I feel like, you are not abiding by the rules, or that there is you are hurting someone else in the container. It's an automatic gone, because our community is so sacred, because I want everyone to win. This is we're not competing against each other. We're raising together. This is another reason why we made the retreats global, because I seen the expansion I had in my life from traveling globally, that I then wanted everyone to come with me. And so in my world, it's not like, we're the only ones successful at the top. No, everyone's coming to the top with us. And I want everyone to be more successful than me, because then you do better work in this world and then more people get help. And at the end of the day, there's only me and Bo. That's two people. I need hundreds of thousands of people to change all of this. And unfortunately, I know we're pretty good, but I can't do that alone, know? Heal people. Hurt people. And that's all there is to it. And then I love everything that you're about, Mylee. I love that, you have come to all different versions of yourself to be the version you are today. I know firsthand how addiction is so hard to give up. I know that it's in your mind every single day. I've got a tattoo on my arm, and it's about the good and the bad, the consistent fighting. I've got the tattoo around here that says the real battlefield is in your mind. I've had these things that have been, it's consistently still there. Whether my addiction changed from alcohol and drugs to relationships, to sex, to work, to gym, I'm addicted always to something. And that's why I always say, people that have addictive personalities, we do fucking amazing in business. All we need to do is channel the addiction into a better, money-making, amazing experience. Or that be bodybuilding, I was into bodybuilding. So, same with you. You're a Muay Thai fighter. You feel something when you become addicted to fighting. You become addicted to that. Where that is why addiction, we're just going to choose a healthier addiction. And, thank you for being the version of you today that is helping other people and see that there's hope, because there's going to be a lot of women that sit here that have been in the same place that you were even a year ago, that goes, wow, if she can get through all of that and be where she is today, left a 20 career, moved to Thailand, started a business, went through grief, battling her own addictions to be where she is today, well, I can do that too. I guess that's where I want to sort of leave it. What message or tip would you like to leave the audience today? What could you leave with them?
If you're thinking about doing something, or you're feeling stuck and lost, find yourself something that is going to help you grow into this version, whether it be just a coach or a community that you can join into every week, just to have that connection with people. If you're working from home all the time, and you're feeling lonely and isolated, find a community, find a passion that you love, and just know that you can do it. You can make the changes that you want to make And don't be scared to do it, because sometimes the grass is greener on the other side, as they say. I know that silly little bloody analogy, but I could, for years and years, I could see the grass growing, but it just wasn't green. And now I can start to see it coming to life. And that is, if you're thinking about doing something, just do it. Stop thinking, just go and do it. And it may work, it may not, but just give it a go. Don't go through life thinking, what if I did this? What if I did that? Go through life going, I did that. It didn't work. Now I try this. And just go and do it. Like, don't hesitate. Put yourself first, and the other things will start falling in place.
100%. And guys, the grass is greener where you water it. That's the truth. Where you choose to water it, the grass will be greener and flowing and all the things. And so if your grass is looking pretty dim and dark and no green, then I suggest we go get some fucking water and some resources and water that shit and nurture and give it some love. So thank you so much today, Mylee. Like, it's been beautiful to listen to you and your story and all the things you've had to overcome to be this version of you. So thank you very much.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. So, guys, this is another episode of Swirl the Tea with Kirsty and Bo. Mylee's details will be at the bottom of here. Please go and follow her on socials. It is Combat Breathwork Solutions. We'll also have it in the show notes. But go see her, go send her a message, give her some love. If you're in Thailand, catch up with her. She's amazing. She's just doing incredible stuff. She also has programs online, so you can get in contact with her and do all the things, because she's a phenomenal breathwork facilitator and to be able to bring so much beautiful impact to your life. If you love this episode today, please like and share it. Tell all your friends. The more people we can spread this awareness, the better. And other than that, have the most incredible week, guys. Big love. Bye.